Hello, this is Ryan from Let's Roleplay, and you're watching channel news for March 27th, 2022. Now, yes, I've been very sick. Many of you know I've been recovering the last 2 months from something quite major. I know, look at me. I get sick a lot of health issues. It's why I quit for nearly 4 years before coming back in 2020. I was hospitalized in June of 2016 for 15 days, in a coma for 5 of those days. Encephalitis, so that was brutal. But yeah, I stopped. I only planned to stop for a year. Somebody had actually just asked me this about a week ago. I only had planned to stop for a year and come back in 2017. However, because, working on this like a business, supposed to make income from it. At that time, in spring of 2017, sorry about that. My kids, that was for my kids. All the partnerships, like Maker Studios, who Disney had owned, and all the other ones, Maker Studios owned a lot of little partnerships. N4 GTV, don't confuse it with what is it? GTV or whatever it is. That's all that hubbub that's been going on the last couple months with. It was a different company. It's N4 GTV. I don't know how they spell that. NGTV or something like that. With the one with Frostgrin and that I hate men thing that was going on. Look what happened to them. all those people who did that are fired now, and they brought in thoughts to replace them. Crazy. It's a crazy world we live in. But anyways, the N4 GTV gave me the pink slip and said we're no longer. And they were shut down. It's not that they chose me. They just were shut down. I think Maker Studios had bought out a lot of these companies, like hundreds or thousands of them. It's Disney. They had billions to spend on these things. And they just shut everybody down. I guess you had to have that's my guess, you had to have a certain number of subs, 20,000, 50,000, I don't know what it was. So if you didn't have that, your partnership was gone. And the partnerships would give you more... better paying commercials. I can't prove that because I went from when I just started from very little, from a few hundred subs when I joined N4 GTV to something that I think at the end it was over 1,000. I don't know, when I stopped making videos in 2016, I don't know how many subs I had, but I know when I came back I had over 2,000 back in 2020. So they just cut me loose, and I looked into it, and they were all doing it to all the little guys, and only the big channels. I think some even of the larger channels, they lost their partnerships. So they would give you commercials that would pay you better, though they would take another 10%. So what would it be? I'm not sure how they worked it out with YouTube, but apparently the commercials paid better. All I know is I started making more money, but my channel is so small, can't tell you if it was really that beneficial. However, what I was hearing was that people had lost about 90% of their income. And I'm like, oh crap, what's the point? And if you look up, and if you've maybe experienced it yourself, encephalitis, I think it's pretty rare. It's like meningitis, except meningitis attacks the layer around the brain. Encephalitis directly attacks the brain. And I'm lucky it wasn't bacterial encephalitis, otherwise it would have eaten away at my brain. I would have had brain damage, or might have died. And they didn't know what I had. They're telling my wife this while I was in a coma. Oh, it was really, really stressful. We had a 5-year-old son and a 1-year-old boy at the time, so oh my gosh, that was awful. So yeah, people who go through that encephalitis, like, my confidence was completely shaken. I had no confidence anymore. I was just like shaken to the core. And reading up on it, it says that's not uncommon for people who go through that. And I really did not want to get back into it. Even, I think I needed a few years, truth be told. I didn't want to get back to it in 2017. I just wanted to, try to recover my life. That really had affected me. And then I was hit with something, I don't think I've gotten to the explanation yet. It's called, this year, so fast forward just to mid-January of 2022. The date I have here is written wrong. Okay, 2022, mid-January is when I got, it's called vestibular neuritis. Now, it's not as dangerous, anywhere as dangerous as encephalitis can be. However, I was so sick with this vestibular neuritis. The 3 days, 72 hours was like hell. I couldn't walk. I could barely walk. I couldn't even see anything. Staring at the TV and laying on the couch and falling asleep multiple times per day was about my first week. That was my first week, but 3 days, like, I'd get up and go to the bathroom and I'd have to catch myself several times because your balance is completely destroyed. Yeah, I don't think I've been more sick when I was awake ever in my life. It was hell. It was hell. It just wasn't as dangerous as encephalitis, and obviously I wasn't in a coma like back in 2016. And thankfully, it's now nearly over. I think by mid-April, it should be gone completely. I'm still suffering from a little bit of it. I feel it's almost like if you run around and you get dizzy, I would just go like this, turn my head, and I'd be like, whoa, I'd have to be out so off balance. Staring at the computer screen, I think I said this in my last video, it was just like overload on my brain. It was just like flashy lights. It was like neon flashy lights and trying to look, you're like half blinded trying to figure out, you spend more of your time trying to figure out what you're looking at than doing anything. Yeah, that was brutal. So, the description from a website called Healthline says this: vestibular neuritis is a condition that causes vertigo and dizziness. It results from inflammation of your vestibular nerve, a nerve in the ear that sends information to your brain about balance. When it's inflamed, this information isn't properly communicated, making you feel disorientated. Vestibular neuritis usually improves after a few days. However, the symptoms can take about 3 weeks to subside. You may also have recurring periods of dizziness and vertigo for several months. So, according to the vestibular physiotherapist that I was seeing, the real bad symptoms were the first 72 hours, and I was vomiting that first day. Oof, that was bad. Really bad. And it can take up to 3 months to fully recover. And there's almost never any permanent damage. But they said it does require a daily regimen of doing balance exercises to really recover, which I've been doing. I've been seeing not a physiotherapist, a vestibular physiotherapist, which is a specialized one for your brain balance, I guess, your ear and brain balance. So yeah, I wasn't taking a break, if you guys were assuming I was. I do regret not continuing on from where I was, but I was really sick. Now about 95% better, though. Now, to my games and videos. There's some out there that believe that your character is a synth in Fallout 4. I suppose they have their reasons, and I think I read about them, why people believe that, but I personally don't think so, not at all. I mean, I have three big reasons right here. It doesn't state it on the wiki, but it does state that the FEV... It does state this: the FEV is also used with Sean's DNA to create Gen 3 synths that could make them immune to radiation right there. I don't know, but it's possible. But your character isn't immune in the game. Also, number 2, the second one is, there's a very rare set of conditions where you meet a synth version of yourself. This only happened to me once, and it was the first time I played through it, so it must have been late 2015 or early 2016. I was just downtown Boston, wandering around doing whatever, and there's this guy who looks like me. Then you can't really tell from a distance, right? So you're just curious, who's this guy wandering around in the ruins of Boston? And to get closer, and he has my name, and I'm getting closer, and he gets hostile and starts attacking me. And when he's dead, I see his face looks completely like my character's. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So, I mean, they made a copy of, like, a synth version of your character. And, yeah, it turns hostile when you approach it, and I was forced to kill it. If you were a synth, I don't think that they would create a synth to take you over. Anyways, just some guy wandering around with your face. That wasn't a very good attempt to take you over. They should have had a whole bunch of coursers ambush you, right? Like a big tough trying to kill you, and then they just have a guy come and take over your power armor, and then just, whoever looks like you, that's your synth, and then that would be more of a logical way to try to remove you from the game. Like, just throw like 20 coursers at you and whatever help backup or help. Like, make it a big freaking event. This is the Institute trying to take you down, but I don't know. Bethesda doesn't always think things through. Just one guy, and here I am blowing everybody away with my Gauss rifle, and I'm wearing power armor. That's not a very good threat to take you out in the game. But anyways, that is in the game, so that's another knock against your character being a synth. But the final one is just, this one has me believe it completely, that you're not a synth. So in my mind, it proves that you're not a synth. Is that synths cannot get disease. It states that on the wiki as well, and I believe they talk about it in the game. And yet, your character can get diseases in the game, especially the mole rat disease, which needs a special cure. So, I don't think you're synth. If that was your theory, I hope I just destroyed it. But we're all humans. We believe whatever we want to believe, even though we live in a time where there's all the information in the world and people just are too blind to see the truth. So, funny enough, which... while I was trying to recover, getting off from the last topic, new topic. So while I was trying to recover, I got a few complaints about my frames per second in my videos, especially Morrowind and Oblivion. So I've gone over this quite a bit since I came back in 2020 and put out started with Morrowind videos. I don't know why people are complaining about the Morrowind videos. Yeah. There's like no frame drop there. There's like the occasional 1 second frame drop. Oh my god, the entire video, low frames. It's obvious in Morrowind when you go from cell to cell. That's how they organize that. I don't know if they use that language in Oblivion and Skyrim and the other games they've done. But back in Morrowind, because I did do a little bit of modding 20 years ago for Morrowind, that's what they call it. Indoor cell, outside cell. Even outside, it's not just one big world. You actually go from one cell to the next. And it's not always seamless. It would stop and it would load for the next cell. That's just how it was. And I remember that in the first game, that there would be a half a second pause. That's not low frame rate. And, you know, I've watched my Morrowind game. There's nothing even there to even complain about. I don't know what's going on with people. So... yeah, it's not Bethesda's oldest games, like Arena and the second game they made, Daggerfall. Those are 90s games, like, those are old. But this is kind of like the middle of Bethesda's games, 2002 for Morrowind and 2006 for Oblivion. That's still pretty old. It's pretty old games now. So, and Bethesda never was the best at bug-free, stable, smooth-looking games, ever. I hope that their new games they're working on will be better. I think Skyrim was the biggest leap forward that they did for me, for my playthrough, for stability. I know others have said it's a buggy game. Some people have said that. I've never found that. I found there are bugs in it. But if you want to compare Oblivion, even Morrowind, to Skyrim, it's like night and day. Like, you can get a occasional bug in Skyrim, but I'm crashing every 20 minutes, half an hour in Oblivion. So just don't even go there. Oblivion is the most unstable video game I've ever played in my life. Don't even go there that Skyrim's unstable, or it's buggy. It has bugs, but it's not a mess. In my opinion, Oblivion it's a mess. It really is. It's so unstable. You put in a few mods and the thing just crashes left and right. It was never optimized properly. It was, in my opinion, Bethesda didn't spend enough time working on it. It needed another year or two of just making the game stable. Yeah, it's a great game. A lot of people love it, and I like it too. But just saying, the game is very unstable. It was just didn't have enough quality time put into it. And so Oblivion and Morrowind, I used to crash every couple hours. But when I played it this time around in 2020 into spring of 2021, it may have crashed. The crashes were rare. I think maybe I had a dozen crashes in the 215 videos, or was it 213 that I did? Just maybe a dozen crashes in the whole time. It's pretty good. There would be times where it would crash over and over because there was a bug that was unforeseen. It wasn't loading this armor set properly, so I would go into this cell and then crash. But it would tell you what it is. So I was able to actually go online to the modding site I go to and talk to the person who created a mod with the armor that I used for that mod, and he said, well, this is how I would fix it. So I went in and did exactly what he said, and it completely eliminated the bug. It was something about it wasn't loaded, wasn't properly loading into the game. I did it and I fixed it. There was no more crashes. And that was in Vivek City, someplace in Vivek City. May have been the Arena's part, the Arena Canton. inside at, I don't know which level. The level right below the actual fighting place in the arena. But yeah, that's, so Morrowind is not very buggy this time around. I guess the mods, because I did like basically a complete revision of everything. If you go and look at the original Morrowind, it's really hard on the eyes, at least my eyes, compared to the game that I put out. Looks completely different. Interesting enough, I also had an NPC mod that I tried for Morrowind, where not talking bandits or the Ashlanders or anything like that, but every named character in the game had a unique face, and that was over 1,000 characters, like 1,080 characters. But it changed my character's face, and I had already made like 50 videos of it by then, and I didn't want to do that. The character's face, I think the character that I had was more, I mean, it was more of a good-looking man, more handsome dude than the one it changed to, but the one it changed to wasn't ugly. It just was a different kind of face. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. But it was unique, and it would have made it, because if you go and look at the videos, there aren't that many different versions of the faces for all the characters, the races and the sexes. There aren't that many of them. But this mod added a unique one, and I was thinking, you know, if I had started out the game with this mod, then that's different. But also it gave the Khajiit like the females, they had just some kind of big frilly... Not buggy, not weird. It was weird looking. It just didn't look quite right to me. It was just off. But yeah, those two reasons, because if I'd started with it, it would have been different. But it's interesting. I wish I did start with it, actually, and I would have just gotten used to how the Khajiit females look. But yeah, it's too late for it then. But yeah, so I found Morrowind to be pretty stable. So if you see me wandering around and there's like a 1 second load, or half a second load between cells outdoors, I mean, that's just how the game was back then. I can't change it by... It's like slapping on a whole bunch of makeup, right? onto something that's still buggy underneath. I think it did stabilize the game quite a bit, the mods in there. Though, the mods for Oblivion, I think that they've stabilized it. Because I went after mods that, you know, add more RAM to it. There's some... One was called a Fallout New Vegas stabilization, something like that. I added that, and that's supposed to really help. There's other things that I added into it. I bought new RAM. I have 32 gigs of faster RAM. I think I went from 2400 speed to 32, and I doubled the RAM. I know the actual amount of RAM won't affect Oblivion because it only uses so much, but the speed of the RAM was increased. So I think that's also helped with the crashes. I maybe crash... Well, now I do an hour-long video. If I do an hour-long video, it may crash once. I was at the point where I was crashing sometimes a dozen times. I tried to go along the Imperial Bridge to get the other side, you know, where the Walnut Inn or Waynut Inn, whatever it's called, and it would crash like every 10 feet. So I would save it as I would go down the bridge. I'm like, oh my god. I can't even show this part to you guys. It's just something I would skip. It's very, very frustrating. That's Oblivion for you. I also found out this is how it was, this is how it was when the game shipped, is that if you had too many items, especially alchemical ingredients on you, you load into a new zone, it would crash. You had too much stuff on you, so it crashed. So whatever I did a lot of stuff. I don't remember all the specifics now. It's been a year. Yeah, it's really lessened the crashing compared to what it would be. But these are, so the whole point is, these are very unstable, buggy games. And Bethesda is not known for having smooth gameplay. They just aren't. And throwing all this makeup that I've done on it to make the game world look better, I think in Oblivion it's okay, but it can't mask everything. So that's one thing. It still does crash a lot. My computer's more than powerful enough. I have an 8 gigabyte video card that I just bought in 2020. I bought a new one. I also upgraded my computer in 2020. I bought new RAM last year. Just about everything in my computer, and including my monitor. I have a 34-inch Samsung gaming monitor, 4K. Pretty much everything I have is new. Everything since around 2020, and my computer can more than handle Oblivion and Morrowind. So people were saying I have a shit computer. There's one guy who left the stupidest, most ignorant trolling comment. It is so bad. I have to laugh at it. He can't stand my videos. The frame rates are so low that I make shit videos, and he's tired of seeing my shit videos pop up on his YouTube feed. I just deleted the comment. And you're basically, I deleted the comment and no, I didn't have to do that. I just blocked them. You just don't feed the trolls, right? It's not something I'm going to get upset about. I'm not going to come on and whine about it. All you guys are complaining about my FPS. I'm addressing it. I'm not whining about it. So, as you can see, I'm laughing because it's kind of funny, some of the things that I've read in the last few months. So there's all that, the almost like a total overhaul I put in those two games, and how buggy they are internally anyways. I didn't really notice it in Morrowind. I think anyone that complains about it in Morrowind, I've had 2 complaints at least, if not 3, about Morrowind FPS, and then people wondering if my computer can handle it. I don't know, why can't it handle an old game? So I've told you, it's 4K recording, it's an old game, buggy game, and there's a total overhaul of the graphics. For Oblivion, we have all that, but we have something else. Much worse, actually, because Oblivion I can't record it in the normal way with Bandicam. I can't record it with the normal way with OBS, and I've looked it up. There's even another recorder. You couldn't record the game in like the game record mode. So there's 3 capture modes in OBS. Because I switched from Bandicam to OBS because of the problems with Oblivion, just for Oblivion. So with OBS, you cannot go with game capture mode because it will actually, I don't know, go into the game and capture what you're showing just from that game. So there's that one, that's the most efficient one. Then there's the middle one where you capture window. You capture the window that you have up. And then the last one, which is what I had to use with Bandicam as well, is just screen capture. Whatever's on the screen, you'll capture that, and that's the most inefficient way of trying to capture, record whatever you're playing. And that's what I was using on Bandicam, because you couldn't use the game capture one. And for OBS, you still can't use the game capture one. I have to go with the window capture. That's kind of like an in-between mode. It seems to be working better. And I'm not impressed. You know what? I don't know. If knowing what I've just gone through now, I wouldn't do Oblivion again. Now, that is a bad game. It's just all the headaches surrounding it. So when I'm out with my horse in this game, Oblivion, there will be frame rate slowdowns. There's nothing I can do about that. Would there be frame rate slowdowns if I used the original graphics? Probably not. But there is, because I have added so much. Like, it's a total overhaul of the graphics. It looks quite different. Even the faces of all the characters look different. That was one of my major beefs, was how everyone just looked like they were inbred when I first played Oblivion. I would always go and look for an Oblivion mod that would change faces for the better, but there never was one until I went to make this game again. So in the last 10 years, somebody has put together a really good face mod for it. Compared to the original characters, these ones look pretty good. There's still the occasional inbred looking dude, but sometimes I'll make fun of him in the game, but it's night and day as far as I'm concerned better. So that's why I'm dealing with all the occasional slowdown, and it only happens in certain sections of Oblivion, and only happens occasionally, right? So don't think that I have complete low FPS in my videos. That's just nonsense. Go and watch my Fallout 4 videos. I watch all my Fallout 4 videos because I love the game so much. I don't notice a single slowdown, and it's much newer. I'm also running the high resolution patch that came out in 2017 that people would say, oh, it's just totally tank your computer. I'm running that, and there's 0 slowdown. As far as I'm concerned, I've not seen a single slowdown. So it's working great. Everything is working as best as I can possibly make it with what I'm doing. So don't think I have a slow computer. Don't think I don't know how to record. Don't think I make shit videos. I'm doing what I can with what I can. And with what I'm doing, no one could do better as far as I know. Unless you have some kind of AI that can go into Morrowind, Oblivion, and fix all the things that need to be optimized and all the bugs. That would be wonderful. I wish I had an AI. It'd be like magic. And make it like the most smooth, awesome game, bug-free game that you can have. No slowdowns, period. Yeah, that's about but I can't make that wish and just wave my hand or whatever and get it to happen. It's just how it is. Speaking of that, I didn't go for a total overhaul for Fallout 4, and I'm not going to do that for Skyrim or any other games. The graphics, in 10 years, they may not look that great from now, because it would be like almost a 20-year-old game. Actually, it would be over 20 years for Skyrim. But they've advanced to the point where they're not hard on the eyes on a big I have my 34-inch monitor, or my, what do we have, 55-inch Samsung 4K TV upstairs. Yeah, they look good on those. They're not, like, if you could just go and watch original Morrowind and Oblivion gameplay on a big wide monitor, it's not exactly easy to watch. It takes some getting used to. So yes, I also record in 60 frames per second, if anyone was wondering. I didn't until September of 2021. I didn't even know there was a difference until people started saying, why aren't you doing it? I didn't even know that it was something that people did, honestly. I just thought 30 frames per second was good enough. And I've had to learn all these things on how to record and edit videos on my own. You know, just when they, and this stuff when it comes, right? If I don't know about it, it's because it hasn't affected me before. So, I mean, yeah, so I think my videos look about as good as you can make them. My Fallout 4 videos look great. Morrowind is pretty good. I don't know why people are complaining. Oblivion, I understand there's the occasional hiccup, but overall, I think it looks good. So that's what's going on with my games. It's out of my hands from what I can do with it. But yeah, no more overhauls because of the problems that can happen. But I don't think that it's just the overhauls. It's just on top of a buggy game and difficulty in recording it too. Oh, and so there's another issue that just came up a couple days ago. People have complained about this. So my last Oblivion video was published Friday night. It was a bit of a pain because it took a long time to upload. Usually it takes 15 minutes to upload, and this took like 45 minutes. And then, if you don't know, if you haven't published videos before, YouTube processes it, and it can take a little while. Typically for one of my videos, 10-20 minutes. It processes, and then it puts it out. If you just publish it right away after you upload it, it will be put out in 360p, which is really, really poor quality. And then it will take usually an hour to 2 hours to get up to 1080p, which is watchable. That's the minimum, in my opinion, to watch it videos. And then it could take a few days to get up to 4K. So before, when I would make videos, I would save them up, and then and publish them as I go per day, and so they would be on my channel waiting ahead of time, and all the processing would be done, so when it gets released to you guys, published so you can see it, it'd be in 4K and you guys could see it in its best quality. But when as I've been making it in the last week or so, or a week and a half, I'm publishing them as soon as they're uploaded, so it does take a while. And last Friday, I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but it took forever just to get even to 360p publishing. It would go up to, I would watch it, it would go up to like 20, then back to 0, 20%, then back to 0, 40% back to 0, 50% back to 0. And then I just uploaded another video, the same thing, same video, and I just let them compete against each other for processing. And the second one I uploaded was the one that finished first, so I can publish that. I just deleted the first version of it. And this took 2 hours, and it's never in my memory of ever done that on YouTube. So I don't know what took so long. And then on top of that, it took about 24 hours to get past 360p, I think. It's a YouTube issue. Don't know. I don't know what happened there. And but I looked at it a few hours before I started making my Fallout 4 video today, and it's now at 4K, so yeah, the same video. Yeah, so that's out of my hands. That I can't do anything about. But it's going to get better as time goes on, because I'm trying to make more videos at once. I didn't today because I'm making this video now, but I made one Fallout 4 video today. I'll see about making it tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be able to. But I'm trying to make 2 at a time. I used to make 3 at a time. But yeah, I'm just trying to get back into it as I get better. So, onto the Q&A. Hummus asks, when you do role-playing series, do you have an idea of the major choices you're going to take and how the character develops? Or do you just take it one decision at a time and kind of let that character change with your past decisions? Okay, Hummus. Yeah, this is the only question that you guys put towards me this time for Q&A. I don't have the usual crew here. For the games that I really want to put out on my channel, such as the Bethesda games, Bethesda, yes, I plan them out. Since I have played these ones before, I know where they're going and what I'd like to do in them, which will change this year. I do want to do Starfield, but the problem is I don't think I'm going to have a game that'll be done by then. Maybe Oblivion will be. But then, you know, I really want to get to Skyrim, which is my favorite game. Yeah, Fallout 4 won't be done. Oblivion is the only one that has a chance of being done. But I'm 100% sure if I put it to a vote for you guys, it would go with Skyrim. So I guess I won't be able to put out a Starfield game. Let's roleplay of Starfield. Not for a while. So, but that's for just some parts, major parts of the story. As for Oblivion, I'm further than I've ever been when it comes to the main story. And so I've only finished the Mages Guild and the Knights of the Nine quest line, but everything else, like, I'm ahead of where I was, especially with the main story, which I just put out a big part of it, getting the Great Welkind Stone, and then the one after, which actually has one of my favorite intros I've done in the videos. One of mine, not the most. It's about the creation of all of everything in the Elder Scrolls universe. Just the start of it. I'm actually very proud of that video, that intro. And it's just like 3 minutes long, so. But, so outside of the Mages Guild questline and the Knights of the Nine, everything else is new to me. So I'm just kind of going on what comes to me. So games like Neverwinter Nights, Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, I haven't played before as I put them on my channel. So what happens is that I'll create a character with the backstory on the spot and just go from there and react to the things as they happen in the game based upon the character's personality that I created. Oftentimes I'm surprised myself, and my characters evolve and grow depending on what happens and the outcomes of my choices. I don't always know. Even in games that I've played before, like Fallout 4 or Morrowind or Oblivion, I don't always know. I didn't remember every aspect of the story, and playing it fully in character is a different experience. Unique experience. So pretty much every video I make, no matter what game it is, things happen that I wasn't expecting. But I do plan out major things. I've got several other things I planned out for Fallout 4. Can't really plan out ahead for Oblivion since what I've already done. And there weren't that many major things. I don't know. Weren't that many things that I could do in Oblivion to plan out for certain events. Like for Fallout 4, I can make things kind of happen. I knew going in after Sean, or so it was Kellogg, but I didn't know that when I first played it. I thought I was maybe going to find Sean with Kellogg. But when I went into Kellogg, I knew I wanted to get some really kind of kick-ass music in the intros. And things like that. I can plan ahead for music. I can plan ahead for some of the intros, like what I want to show there. And I can plan how my character, how I'd want him to react in certain situations, what's happens, certain events. But for the most part, like, that's just vague stuff that I'll remember for months later, and then it just happens for maybe a minute, if that, in the video. So mostly I'm just going along with, like, how we all go along with. Our bodies get thirsty, we go drink, you meet somebody, a friend, as you're walking down the street, you say hello to them. You don't always know what, you kind of react to a lot of stuff. So that's kind of how it is. And sometimes things go in different directions than I would have thought. I honestly, I am a little bit intimidated about playing games that I haven't played before. As for, like, Dragon Age Inquisition, I played that blind as well. That was a complete blind game. I just had no idea what was coming. And there was some major kind of plot changes throughout that game that kind of took me by surprise. And you'll see genuine reactions from me through my character. Trying to act how I think the character would react, but I'm also very surprised to see these things happen as well. So yeah, I can only plan out so much. But I can't really make, like, I know an event is going to happen. I think the Baldur's Gate games are the easiest for me to plan out because I've played through them so many times. I know what's going to happen, and I kind of plan ahead for how my character will react. And it's just like a little notion. It's not something that I would write down. It's just like, okay, well, he's going to think this, or she's going to think this and that, and maybe say this based upon that. And then that's about it. There's no way I can really plan out everything. I just kind of go. I've got a good memory, and I just remember these little things, and I act on them as they come at the time. So if I had acted out that part months before it came up in game, it would probably be different because my experience going through everything in those months to that point might make the outcome different. So if you understand what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I react a lot as things come, even in games I've played. So I can plan out some events. I can look for music and stock video footage that I want to use for some things. Like I've got some songs that I have planned to use and some stock footage for Fallout 4. And not much left. Maybe a few songs and maybe just one stock footage thing that I've saved up. Which I think is going to be very endearing when it does happen. I've been saving them for months, actually. Quite a few months. Since I started, it was September for Fallout 4. I've been saving it since then. Yeah, I can't wait to use it. But, yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to help out and support Let's Roleplay, you can donate at my Patreon account. Or become a member of my channel, which also comes with perks. There's a video. If you go click on the join button on the main page, there's a video to watch. I put everything together and what you as a member get. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.